The community grieving the loss of Phoenix Police Commander Greg Carnicle, killed in the line of duty last night, a 31-year Phoenix police veteran. The commander died after police responded to a domestic violence call near 40th Avenue and Pinnacle Peak. This is in North Phoenix. Our Nick Saletti is at that scene this morning. And Nick, been watching these preview shots come into our newsroom. Still a massive police presence there.
Kaylee, I can tell you this is still a very active scene right now. You can see behind me we still have a number of squad cars here with their flashing lights, and this street has been closed down since about 7 o'clock last night. That just paints the picture of how much work these officers still have on their hands this morning. And this is just such a tragedy, and this is so heartbreaking. We're learning so much this morning about Commander Greg Carnicle and all of the work that he did for this community. He had been on the force for 31 years and was just months away from retiring. He leaves behind a wife and 4 adult children. These officers know every day when they come to work that they are putting their lives on the line, but this is the ultimate sacrifice for his community. Now, we're learning that this started off as some sort of a domestic call. We're hearing that this was a fight between 2 roommates. Officers showed up here, and then somehow things just got out of hand. So I want to send our team coverage over to Carla Navarrete, who has been here since this all broke out. Carla, paint the picture for us. How exactly did this turn so tragic?
Well, Nick, yeah, we've been here since about the midnight hour, about 4 hours after it happened, and our crews from the Nightside team were here and passed, would you say, the baton to us. We're at the north end, so about a mile away from where you are right now. We're at the north end of the scene. We're being kept quite a bit away from the actual house where that shooting happened. I'll tell you, it happened at about between the 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock hour last night. As you mentioned, 2 roommates apparently fighting. Apparently, we were getting stories from neighbors that this may have been a dispute between 2 of the roommates, one of them kicking the suspect out of the home. That is, of course, all only coming from neighbors at this time. Police have not given very many details as to exactly the details of what went on during the night, but we do know that there were 3 officers, 2 female officers, along with Commander Carnicle last night, who were responding to this call. Those 2 female officers, one of them was shot in the leg, and as you mentioned, Commander Carnicle was fatally wounded.
To be able to stand here today and say that one of my good friends is lost is troubling. So please keep us in our thoughts and prayers. Keep the Carnicle family in their thoughts and prayers also.
Now, we did get a chance to speak to one eyewitness last night who lives not too far from the home where this happened. He says he saw someone, possibly one of the officers, being taken away in an ambulance, being rushed from an undercover car into that ambulance. Take a listen to what that witness had to say.
The undercover vehicle pulled in. A gentleman jumped out of the undercover vehicle and started commencing to wave his hands at the paramedics as he was holding his head. And I do believe that they possibly pulled somebody out of that undercover vehicle and put them into that ambulance as that ambulance turned and took off with 2 or 3 police officers following.
Now, during this entire situation, I can tell you the suspect was also shot and killed. We do believe the man to be in his 20s. Nick, I'll throw it back to you on the other side as we develop this story out here in North Phoenix. Back to you.
Carla, thank you. It's still so hard to wrap your head around something like this, so tragic, with 3 officers shot and, of course, one of them not making it. I've worked here for 6 years now, and this is probably the hardest thing that police here have had to deal with. I want to send things over to ABC 15's Nohalani Graf right now. She is at the medical examiner's office where we know Commander Carnicle was taken this morning. Nohoy, I know a somber scene as those fellow officers began to gather there to say their goodbyes.
You know, Nick, you mentioned that this is one of the hardest parts, and it's hard to really understand how much this hits the department. But if there is a visual representation of that, it was here last night as Commander Carnicle's body was transported from Honor Health to the medical examiner's office here in downtown Phoenix, because it seemed like every officer in the city was here, lining both sides of Washington Street and down 8th Street. So let me transform the view a little bit for you, because the streets are empty now, but just take a look at this video of what it looked like at that time. An absolutely stunning scene. Dozens upon dozens of police cruisers lined up one by one down the streets here with their lights flashing. Fire trucks and ambulances also here helping to block the street. Even some city employees from neighboring businesses came out, walked down here and stood in salute as the motorcade pulled down Washington, down 8th Street to the medical examiner's office, all helping to guide that black SUV carrying Commander Carnicle's body here to the medical examiner's office. It looked like a funeral procession already, and this is one of the highest honors in a way that you can give one of your fellow officers when they've been lost in duty. The color guard, the honor guard, even here with flags out in full salute as his body was taken into the medical examiner's office. Now, you did hear just moments ago Chief Jerry Williams talking about her friend, telling us that he worked overseeing the night shift and weekend shifts. So he was no stranger to difficult scenes, probably has been to many a shooting scene like the one that unfolded this evening, but of course never quite like this. We also know that he worked on special assignments. He was part of a canine unit at one point. His co-workers calling him a hero, and you can understand why. Also, he was just days away from retiring, which really breaks your heart. And of course, he leaves behind a wife and daughter. Now, Kaylee, there were 2 other officers with him. We know that Marissa Dowhan had surgery. She was shot. She is out of surgery, and she is expected to recover. Also, Alicia Hubert, she also was shot in the bottom half of her body. And just some perspective, Kaylee, I say that they will recover. I'm talking about physically. We know that alone is going to be a long road after healing from gunshot wounds, but the mental and emotional recovery may never really happen.
I have goosebumps. You think about it. Life's so precious. No, hey, thank you for this live report. We appreciate it. So many messages of support already pouring in for the Phoenix Police Department and Commander Carnicle's loved ones. Maricopa County Sheriff Paul Pinzone tweeting this: I have known Commander Greg Carnicle since our time at Cortez High School. He is a good man, kind and thoughtful, and was proud to serve this community with the Phoenix Police. This is an absolute loss for our community. My prayers for his family and the officers who are recovering.